Canada is at a pivotal moment in its defense procurement history, reevaluating a multi-billion-dollar commitment to the US-made F-35, while Sweden's Gripen E emerges as a serious alternative. But recent friction with the US, including diplomatic tensions, trade disputes, and sovereignty concern, could tip the scales. Is Canada about to dump the F-35 for Gripen? Alternatively, should Canada just operate a mixed fleet of both? Let's discuss it in today's video. Stay tuned. Canada officially signed on to buy up to 88 F-35 fighter jets to replace its CF-18 fleet. 16 aircraft are already funded, with deliveries expected to begin later this decade. On paper, the F-35 offers Canada some clear advantages, including advanced sensors, data fusion, and deep integration with the US and NATO systems. It also connects Canada to a massive global fleet, enabling shared logistics, interoperability, and continuous upgrades over decades. But there's a downside. Rising costs and political tensions, including US tariff threats, have put that order under review. In March last year, Canada said it was reviewing its 88 aircraft F-35 order after projected costs climbed from 19 billion to 27.7 billion. And many Canadians feel the industrial benefits flowing back to Canada haven't matched the scale of the investment. Then came the comments that many feels like a threat. The US ambassador to Canada publicly warned that if Canada pulls back from the F-35 purchase, it could affect continental defense. He said that if Canada buys fewer jets, the US would have to fill those gaps itself by buying more F-35 for its own use and using them to intervene in Canadian airspace more frequently. To many Canadians, that didn't sound like a neutral observation, but sounded like pressure. That's why even after signing the deal, Canada began reviewing parts of the program, opening the door to renewed debate, especially regarding Sweden's Gripen E. Besides offering a much more affordable alternative, low operational cost, and the capability to operate from dispersed airfields, Saab's current proposal includes local production that will create more than 12,000 jobs. According to a recent poll conducted by ECOS, only a small portion of Canadians supports keeping the F-35 as the main fighter after the initial delivery of 16 aircraft already under contract. The data show that 43% of respondents supports adopting the Gripen in future purchases, while 29% favor creating a mixed fleet combining Swedish and American jets. The support for Gripen surpasses the F-35 in all regions and provinces, reinforcing the public perception that the Gripen would be a more attractive alternative. Political and trade tensions with the US have also introduced a new layer of strain to what was previously a relatively smooth bilateral defense partnership, prompting Canadian policymakers to question whether reliance on US equipment is always in Canada's strategic interest. In that light, despite differences in capability, Gripen is seen as providing greater autonomy and sovereign industrial capacity. For more than a decade, the F-35A has been positioned as the only platform capable of meeting the full spectrum of Canadian defense requirements. As a fifth-generation stealth fighter, the F-35 is designed to operate in contested airspaces, conduct surveillance, and provide deep sensor fusion, capabilities that the 4.5th gen models cannot match without significant compromise. When Canada's Air Force did its own comparison in 2021, the F-35 won every category except one, but that was 5 years ago. Lockheed Martin is under scrutiny because they cannot deliver the latest software on time, causing delays and cost increases, and there's an issue with availability as well. According to the US Congressional Budget Office, the F-35's service availability rate has been consistently between 50 and 60% since 2022. Although Gripen's data is classified, it was acknowledged among the Air Force's officers to be much higher than 80%. Moreover, some argue that the F-35A is the wrong aircraft for the missions that the Air Force will perform, and that Canada should instead redesign its force structure around aircraft optimized for Arctic interception, availability, and cost control rather than deep strike stealth operations. In their view, Canada should shape its air force around aircraft that match its actual mission requirements rather than forcing platforms like the Gripen to conform to F-35-centric doctrine developed around US expeditionary warfare. which I personally kinda agree. There's a separation between offensive and defensive doctrine in air warfare, but that distinction gets blurred far too often, usually for political or commercial reasons rather than strategic ones. Trillions were sunk into creating a platform designed to penetrate, suppress, and destroy enemy air defenses in the opening phase of a conflict. It is designed for short, high-intensity windows, breaching defenses, blinding enemy, and opening corridors for follow-on forces. That's the American requirement for the F-35, born for expeditionary warfare and global reach. Defensive air doctrine works on a different logic entirely. The defender's aircraft is meant to arrive fast, be seen, assert presence, and deliver weapons. Observability is not a weakness, rather it's the point. It's like signaling we are here, we see you, turn around, or we shoot. Stealth is marginally useful here since we want the enemy to know our presence, not hide from them, while availability and responsiveness are more important. That's why Gripen is designed to be tough and flexible to defend the home sky. Alternatively, why doesn't Canada operate a mixed fleet, leveraging the strengths of both fighters while offsetting each other's weaknesses? A mixed fleet could let Canada assign aircraft to roles that match their strength. Gripen for day-to-day patrols, while F-35 for high-end combat missions. This could maximize effectiveness across a wide range of tasks. Gripen's lower operating cost per flight hour could help Canada keep more aircraft flying more often, leaving the more expensive F-35 focused on strategic missions. A mixed fleet approach could diversify suppliers and reduce reliance on a single foreign source, particularly amid concern over dependence on U.S. defense systems. Furthermore, polling suggests a notable portion of Canadians actually prefer a mixed fleet, indicating the public appetite for combining the advantages of both types. However, on the other hand, having a mixed fleet will increase complexity and cost. Two different fighters mean parallel supply chains, training, logistics, and infrastructures, which makes the Air Force's operations more complicated and expensive to run. This would stretch the Air Force, which is already dealing with recruitment challenges. Military analysts and Air Force officials have examined this option and largely agree that a mixed fleet would create added logistical complexity and sustainment challenges. There might be operational integration issues as well, as different systems and data architectures could make it harder to achieve seamless interoperability in some scenarios. But I personally think this isn't a bigger deal since both are NATO compliant, and I'm sure Gripen is NORAD compatible as well. Although having a mixed fleet could indeed result in increased complexity and cost, in my opinion, having only two, both the F-35 and Gripen, won't bring that much trouble. From my perspective, operating one or two F-35 squadrons alongside a larger Gripen fleet could still be cheaper to maintain and operate than fielding a full 88 aircraft F-35 fleet. That way, Canada can still fulfill its NORAD's responsibility by having interoperable platform with the US and at the same time have a cost-effective platform for daily patrol and interception missions. That's what I think, but so far, no firm date has been set for a final decision. A new public narrative is hardening in defense of what seems to be an inevitably positive outcome for the Gripen proposal, despite repeated indications from the Air Force that it remains unconvinced that the aircraft meet its operational needs. But what do you think about this situation? Should Canada stay with the F-35, switch to Gripen E, or opt for a mixed fleet instead? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching everyone. I'll see you in the next one.